I got all the boxes. Finally, now for the furniture. It's gonna take all day to move these in. We'll manage. It's exciting decorating our very own house. I love it here. Isabella Patterson. She was the daughter of two very influential rich parents. She grew up being pampered by luxury. However, she decided to get married to Victor, an ordinary guy with an ordinary life, and start a new life with him. After much struggle for the past 8 years of their marriage, the couple finally bought their first home in the small town of Brawley in California. While Victor now ran a successful business in San Francisco, Isabella left her job at the BII Bank when they moved here. For the most part, Victor would be able to handle his business from home, with an occasional trip or two to the city. It was a bit of a hassle, but doable, and Isabella, she was more than thrilled by the change. Not a lot of people lived in this town, and everyone practically knew everyone around here. But so far, the only people Isabella knew were her neighbors. Hello, I'm Rachel. Hi, I'm Isabella. So how do you like the place? It's nice, still have to figure my way around though. I actually take a walk to the park every morning. You should join, I can show you around. That sounds great. The first few days went by fine. Isabella conveniently found where to shop, to gym, and even the doctors. However, it was the evening she and Victor had gone to the supermarket for their first weekly haul that Isabella noticed something strange. While Victor was parking the car, she had headed off to the store when she saw a homeless man standing just a distance away, staring at her. He had an overgrown, bushy beard, dirty, torn clothes, and that haunting look in his eyes. It sent chills down her spine. Isabella uncomfortably hurried inside the minute the man took a step towards her. At first, she thought she escaped the trouble, but then she saw him enter the store a few minutes later. Isabella couldn't help but look back every time she skipped an aisle. She felt nervous when the man met her gaze. Isabella quickly ran through the aisles, picking up her groceries, after which she hurried to the counter. She scanned the floor as the clerk packed everything, just barely giving him his payment, and running out to the car again. You're back already? Victor, there was this creepy homeless man following me. Victor curiously looked around when he too spotted a homeless man sitting out on the pavement outside the store. That's him, Victor. Are you sure he was following you? Yes, he went inside after me. Maybe he just went inside to buy food. Ignore him, Isabella. Isabella wanted to give the incident the benefit of doubt. The next day, while she was taking her daily morning walk at the park with Rachel, she spotted the same homeless man watching her. She tried not to pay attention to him, but just like the day before, he began following her. Rachel, you see that man over there? He's been following me around the neighborhood. Rachel turned to see the man and suddenly froze. Yeah, I saw him around here too. This is why I always carry pepper spray with me. Has anything happened in this neighborhood? It happens everywhere, Isabella. You can't really trust these people. Be careful. That day, after Isabella returned home, she took one of Victor's pocket knives and kept it in her bag. There was no doubt that the man was after her, for whatever ill intention. Isabella saw him a number of times in the following week, and it made her even more sure and anxious. Outside the gym, outside the cafe. This one time, it even seemed that he had caught up to her, but Isabella managed to escape again. The first 2 weeks since they moved hadn't gone well. Isabella kept to her home, and when she went outside, she went with Victor. But it was one morning that Victor informed her the last thing she wanted to hear at a time like this. "I'm going on a business trip to San Francisco this weekend. I'll be there for 2 days." "Is it really urgent? Can't you delay it?" "Why?" "Victor, I don't really feel safe around here, all alone." "You used to be all alone all the time in the city. It's more safer here." "That homeless man, he keeps following me." "Isabella, it's probably just a coincidence. It's a small town. Don't worry, it's only 2 days." Isabella knew there was no way out of this trip. Victor had to go sort things out in San Francisco. But now Isabella too had to take her precautions. "Call me when you get there." "Sure, sweetheart." The evening after Victor left, Isabella went around the house, locked all doors and windows, and kept a baseball bat under her bed. To much relief, the night went by without disturbance, though Isabella didn't get much sleep. The next day, Rachel dropped by in the afternoon when Isabella didn't go out on her usual morning walks. "How is everything?" "It's fine. Victor went out of town on a business trip, so I'll be all alone till Monday." "I was wondering what you told me the other day. I was reading a few articles. In the past 4 weeks, the police are saying there have been a number of robberies around here. They're suspecting the same person is responsible." "You think it's him? The homeless man?" "It could be. There's something strange about him for sure." Come the second night, Isabella lay in bed thinking about all the worst possibilities. She ended up checking her window every now and then, but the streets were empty. Not a single soul or movement outside. Maybe she was overthinking it, but Rachel did say it was on the news. Feeling so overwhelmed and nauseated, Isabella forced her eyes shut, and fortunately enough, she finally managed to doze off. But it was in the middle of the night, she woke up hearing an odd clicking noise outside from her hallway. She jumped up hearing soft footsteps. She took her baseball bat and slowly inched out. When she was horrified seeing a figure climbing in through the window. There was an intruder. Gripping onto the bat, she creeped down the hall. But the minute she turned around, she froze, feeling someone behind her. On Monday morning, Victor packed his bags and headed on his journey back home. It was near evening when he reached Brawley. But when he opened the door and stepped inside his home, it was oddly silent. "Isabella?" There was no reply. Victor paced towards his room when he suddenly heard a low murmuring of voices in the kitchen. He quickly walked in, a bit surprised and shocked, to see Isabella having lunch with a man. Victor stared at him, now clean-shaven, his hair combed back. He almost didn't recognize this was the same homeless man he had seen the other day. "What is going on?" "Victor, I want you to meet Craig." "Craig, this is Victor, my husband." "Craig? Remember I was telling you about the man following me? It was him. Craig and I actually went to college together. It was almost 12 years ago. We used to be really good friends. But I almost couldn't recognize him. I still can't believe how life can change so drastically in such a short time." Back in their college days, Isabella used to be best friends with a girl named Grace. They had known each other for years, and it was when Grace started dating Craig that he became good friends with Isabella too. The three often hung out together, went to parties, trips, and did everything usual college buddies did. It was in their sophomore year that Craig had gotten into a car accident. He had gotten severely injured and was at the verge of death. He had lost a lot of blood, and the doctors began to worry if they would be able to save him. Fortunately, it was Isabella who donated her blood to him and saved his life. They grew quite close after that, but after graduating, they became busy in their lives, but still kept in touch now and then. But it was one day, years later, that Isabella suddenly got news of Grace's death. She had fallen ill and passed away. It was after her death that Craig became awfully depressed. Craig had isolated himself from everyone and everything. Down the line, he lost his job and didn't have anyone else he could rely upon either. Belonging to a broken family, none of his relatives or even his parents supported him. And it was one day that Isabella suddenly heard that Craig moved from the city. No one could tell her where or even give her any contact information. As the years passed, everyone moved on, and Craig was just another forgotten friend. Meanwhile, Craig had moved to this small town, trying to get away from all those awful memories, but running out of the last of his savings and facing rejection from everyone around him. He was left to the streets, where he started to live the life of homelessness. But after so many years of struggling, when Craig saw Isabella in this very town, he recognized his long-lost friend immediately. He tried to approach her, but it seemed that in this condition, Isabella didn't recognize him anymore. Victor stared at Craig and then at his wife. "He's your friend, so you know him?" "Yes, if it wasn't for him, I don't know what would have happened last night." A thief broke into the house around 1 a.m. I was so panicked, I tried to fight him off, but he was armed. If Craig hadn't come to save me, I wouldn't be alive today. We called the police and had the man arrested. It turned out he was wanted for committing burglaries in the neighborhood for the past couple of months. I would have called you, but it was so late, I didn't want to worry you. Isabella didn't want to worry Victor, but Victor couldn't help the anxiety. Things hadn't gone how he planned. Victor met Isabella almost 9 years ago at a party hosted by his boss. She was the daughter of one of his boss's friends, the Patterson's daughter. It was from that day Victor knew she was the one. "Perhaps I can take you out to dinner sometime." "Sure, I had a really great night." The one he would bait. Isabella was the cherished daughter of her rich parents. It was through her that Victor wanted to be settled in his life. If he married her, he could practically live off her parents' wealth and eventually everything Isabella would inherit. So, it was a long year of flattering her and building up their relationship that Isabella agreed to his proposal. However, that was when the issues began. "You're going to marry him? Have you forgotten you're the daughter of George Patterson? Your father has prestige in the society. Are you going to disgrace this family, Isabella? Just because he doesn't belong to a wealthy family, how can you treat him like this? How can you be so shallow, mother?" "Isabella, the world runs on money. Everything is about money. If you don't have money, you're worth nothing. Your father and I will never accept this marriage." "Then if you don't want to accept it, don't. There's nothing that's gonna break me and Victor apart. I don't need your money." Victor and Isabella got married, and he assumed the small family feud would have been resolved in just a matter of time. But while Isabella did patch things up with her parents had an awful grudge against him. The only reason Victor had married her in the first place was so he could change his life, so he could become rich. But neither did Isabella's family assist them, nor did Isabella take money from her parents. She wanted to be something of her own, and Victor suddenly found himself struggling to provide for both of them. "Victor, I finally landed that job at BII Bank. This is great. Now with the both of us working, we'll easily be able to reach our goal." For the past 8 years, Victor worked day and night, saving every penny he could to establish himself. And now that he finally bought this house, Now that he finally had his own car and started his own business, he was finally going to start a new life. A new life without Isabella. He wanted to get rid of her, and in the process, finally get rich with Isabella's insurance money for which her parents had been paying for years, and take the perfect revenge on the Pattersons for every day of hardship he endured. When Victor had bought this house, he had intentionally bought it in a more secluded neighborhood, away from trouble, away from being spotted, so he could get the job done. After moving in, however, Isabella started complaining about a homeless man following her. Victor didn't pay much importance to it, but soon he realized there was indeed someone after her. And it was one evening, while Victor was returning home, that he happened to see the man again, alone. In the middle of the bridge, Victor stopped the car, seeing him climbing over the railing. "What are you doing? Why are you ending your life?" "I have no reason to live." "Wait, how about I give you a reason to live?" When Craig looked at the man, he recognized him. He was Isabella's husband. "What reason?" "I'm going out of town for a few days. Here are the keys to my house. My wife will be home alone. Find the right opportunity and get rid of her. There'll be 10 grand in the drawer of my desk. Take it and leave from here. Is it a deal?" Deal. Craig had come to the bridge determined to end his life. He didn't want to live a life so miserable. When he saw Isabella, he got a glimmer of hope to get back up and start over again. But that day, when even Isabella, the one who saved his life, didn't recognize him, Craig felt devastated. He had nothing to live for. He lost the love of his life, he lost his friends, his reputation, he lost everything. He had no reason to live, until Victor had indeed given him one. After Victor left for his trip, Craig went to Isabella's house, not to do as told, but to keep an eye on her. Her life was in danger. Was there any way he could tell her? And coincidentally, it was Craig who saw the robber break in on the second night and went to save his friend. Craig looked at the worry in Victor's eyes as Isabella went on about what happened. "But I still don't understand how you got in. The burglar even had to break the window. But how did you open the door without breaking it?" Craig chuckled, giving Victor a glance. We all have our secrets. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.